Welcome to the first part of the mini course on how to double your sales by treating your prospects' objections the right way. Now, stop me if you've ever heard this one before. Yeah, this sounds pretty good, but I got to think about it, right? It's the most frustrating thing your prospect can say in a whole of the sales conversation. Because you've probably just spent half an hour to an hour talking to them, creating that connection, making them feel comfortable, figuring out what their problem actually is, matching it to your solution, and then explaining everything to them, what they will get, all the benefits and everything. And you're feeling good, it's a good flow of communication. And somewhere in the back of your mind, you're already thinking, yeah, I think this guy might be the one that goes, yes, I want your services. I want your product. And then they hit you with this. It's annoying, right? And worse than that, it's irrational. Because that person sat down with you because they have a problem. And you have that solution for that problem. And then suddenly they need to think about it. Like, did the problem just vanish? I know your pain if you've ever experienced this, because I've experienced it myself many, many times. When I was selling my own stop smoking programs, I put all the bells and whistles on it. I pulled all the stops to make that product as accessible as possible. I broke it down into installments that were so small that the moment my client stopped smoking, they were already in the green. They were making money right away, saving money right away. I gave them all the guarantees. I told them, hey, if this doesn't work for you, I will refund you every single cent because I don't want your money if I can't help you. And I even told them, hey, if you ever fall back into that habit, give me a call. I'll work with you again for free. And despite all of that, I was shocked when I actually got to selling. Because what ended up happening was I would be talking to people with COPD in the advanced stages. If you don't know what that is, it's basically your lungs filling up with liquids till you slowly drown. This happens to smokers all the time. And the only way out of that is to stop smoking. I would talk to these people knowing, okay, you're on a timer. You've got a year, 2 years, 3 years to stop this, or it's over. I would lay all of this out for them. And by the end, I still got the answer, oh, this sounds good, but I need to think about it. God, that was frustrating. Because the moment somebody said that, I knew two things. One, I can't push them on this. If I tell them, hey, come on, let's talk about it. What is there to think about? Let's think about it together. They would get defensive. If I kept pushing them, they would say, no, you know what? I don't like you anymore. This is over. Don't contact me. I couldn't push them on it. But I also knew if I let them go right now, I'm not making that close. I'm chasing them for the next 2-3 weeks, only for them to come back to me and say, yeah, right now is not the right time. Like, right now is the only time. You're dying. Ugh. It was frustrating. It was frustrating because there was one simple truth that I had to learn in order to make this aspect of sales work in my favor. And it's this. I need to think about it as a stress response. It's the kind of response that happens when my prospect is experiencing pressure and stress, like they do at the end of a sales conversation when it all comes down to that one point. We've talked about all of this. Do you want it right now? Yes or no? Please sign on the dotted line. That's the moment stress and pressure starts to come in. when a person experiences stress and pressure, they go for a fight or flight response. Now, fight obviously wasn't on the books because, up until that point, we had a nice conversation. You don't just start getting angry at someone that's treated you well. So what these clients picked was instead flight. I need to get out of this. I need to think about this. I'll tell you in a week or two when I'm no longer feeling uncomfortable. But the problem is the moment I let them out feeling like that, that's the thing they associate to my offer. From there on, every time I call them, every time they think about me, every time I message them, they're going to feel that uncomfortable feeling again. It's going to grow and grow and grow until 2 or 3 weeks later, they feel so uncomfortable and so awkward. They just go, no, you know what? I just want to get out of this. I'm just going to tell them, no, right now is not the right time. Yeah, it's an irrational response because in that moment, when my prospect is experiencing pressure and uncertainty, they literally cannot think rational. So once I managed to figure this out, what I was able to do was, first of all, spot the reaction when it's happening. Because a stress reaction, once you know what's going on, is easy to spot. I understood what I needed to do in that moment because I started to understand what's happening inside my client's mind. I knew what to do to take off the pressure in that moment. And I knew when my client was ready to continue the conversation because they had switched back into their rational mind. And so will you. By the end of this training, you're going to understand exactly what is going on inside your client's mind at the moment when you're trying to close them. You will understand how to spot that, and you will understand how to take the pressure off and make them rational again, to where they no longer tell you, oh, I need to think about it, but instead they're willing to talk to you about what objections they actually have so that you can treat them and make an even stronger case for why they should become your customer. Now, throughout this whole training, you're going to realize we don't put a lot of emphasis on the words that you say. Because at Introvert Sales Academy, we believe that it's more important to understand the principles that inform the words. Because if you have a deep understanding of what's going on inside your prospect's mind and the actions you need to take in order to shift that towards something more useful, if you understand all of that, then the words come by themselves and they will be your words instead of my words that make sense for me. Now, of course, towards the end, I will show you what I like to say so you can have a first idea of how you can make that shift. But I would encourage you to find your own words to make this work for you. And finally, I hope that you stick around until the end because my business partner and I have a special offer for you. And as well as a special offer, we also have a bonus where we're going to talk about how once you've taken off the pressure from your prospect and you've reestablished a connection, a frame of cooperation, how to get the objections out quickly, right then and there, lock them in, treat them, and make a very strong case for why your prospect should become your customer. So I hope you're going to join me in the next video where we start talking about what is actually going on in your client's mind as you're trying to close them. And I'll see you then.